let's talk about episode 1. It took me a while. It took me about 3 to 5 minutes to get into exactly what it was we were watching. I did like that they were kind of making fun of Wanda and Vision more so than they were making like a joke about the time period, which I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like, we're trying to tell their story through this time period. They really made a show that was like appropriate for that 50s. I don't know if that's like Leave It to Beaver or Andy Griffith kind of time period.
Yeah, Andy Griffith.
And Andy Griffith, perfect. Like, so something like that, but they were making fun of the characters themselves. I liked once we got into the various little elements, like it was the Stark commercial, the toaster commercial. If you listen, the beep sounded more like a bomb going off than it did like an actual toaster beep. And we know about Wanda's like trauma when her and her brothers, before they got their powers, their parents were killed by a Stark missile, which is related to the Tony Stark family. And another missile just kept beeping, but they didn't know if it was ever going to blow up. So that sound probably haunts her. And since we all know we're in her mind, we know that a lot of what we see and hear is something that she could be experiencing in her mind. Some of the little Twilight Zone kind of thriller, kind of scary moments, like when his boss was choking and Kitty's like, stop it, and she's smiling, but we're using really dark, ominous music. That was actually cool because it kind of pulled a little bit behind the curtain, because we knew during the episode something wasn't right. Like, something was wrong here. Like, they didn't have a memory. This neighbor seemed nosy and kind of present, and from the trailer we know that she's someone who may not have good intentions. But that's what I thought. I'm excited to see where it goes. This is easily the most peculiar project the MCU has ever released, ever. But I'm along for the ride. What'd you think?
I know, like it. Okay, but I felt lost, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I tried. I feel like, for the most part, so like when James and I, we go to the movies, he tells me like all the background context in history. And so like he told me like a little bit about it, about how like the whole Thanos thing, Thanos snapped, they, disappeared and they wanted to live their own life, and then they kind of like dropped into this backdrop. What, is that not right?
No, you keep going.
Was that not right?
You just embarrassed me as a nerd.
Okay, well, anyways, so, he gave me a little bit, but I still felt like I was out of the loop and things were happening that I had no, idea about. Now, I hope, because they released 2 episodes, that there would be a little bit more of a cohesion. This show is clearly for fans. This is not for, anybody. Now, yeah. I think I may have said this in a previous clip. I really love the Doctor Strange movie. I felt like they built the world really well. They explained it, context, his story, yada, yada, yada. And I really, really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, with a sitcom, I guess they're telling the story in an episodic fashion, so it kind of just unfolds naturally, and you have to keep on watching.
Absolutely.
Versus you get it all in one thing, bing bang boom. So I hope this goes somewhere. Kitty, she made the whole entire episode for me because she's really, really funny.
Kitty's amazing from that 70s show.
Yeah. So, and then James was telling me, this might be in Wanda's mind because, Kitty was doing stop it. And that was very strange. I'm homeboy is choking and she's paralyzed, and then
but to that Vision point, it looked like Vision wanted to help but couldn't until Wanda gave him permission to, which tells you this is all in Wanda's mind. So it's at the very end, best part, we saw the sword emblem, which the sword is the space counterpart of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it looked like they were monitoring someone's vital signs, most likely Wanda's and Vision's. So I think it's a pretty, for sure, we're not in a different reality. We're in her mind, and her mind has created a reality.
I don't know. And I think, too, when Vision actually, helped him by taking the little whatever piece of food out of his throat, this is the misconception. I just had the conception as a superhero, you're not supposed to show your superhero-ness in front of people, just like he had his regular human face on.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. What the?
So the fact that he did that in front of Kitty, I was like, oh, so we out here?
I think the implication was she couldn't see because it was behind the table. You guys who are watching may know. Let us know, because I think that that's what the implication was. I think their powers are supposed to be a secret, but this is in the genre of a 50s show. So even when he was like, can you make us rings? And they did like a jump cut instead of CGI.
Yeah.
They intentionally kept it in a 50s genre. Like,
I
they're
wonder
not
what
cutting
the purpose
corners.
of that was. Like, what it was, it's just like a artistic, you know, you just take artistic license that you just wanted to take it through the different,
I think so. I think MCU said, how can we tell a new story in a different way? And that's what we got. And so I think we will appreciate it as the story goes. I'm already appreciating it, but I'm a fan. I think you will appreciate it as you go. Because eventually episode 4 is supposed to be Brady Bunch, episode 5 is supposed to be the Full House, and it kind of gets to the modern time.
Did we ever get to the Fresh Prince? Is there any Fresh Prince in there? No? Oh, okay. Okay. So, clearly, Marvel needs to kind of work on this.
So those are our thoughts on episode 1. So episode 2, to me, that yawn, right? Episode 2 to me was a lot better than episode 1. It kind of took the storytelling to the next level. I appreciate the little intrusions from the real world. Like, even though they keep explaining away the little bang bang that she hears in the beginning as the branch, we know it's something happening in the world around her, in her real body. I don't know who the beekeeper is. So if someone knows who that is, or the symbol that was on his back, go ahead.
I feel like it's the same sword symbol.
No, it wasn't the sword symbol, because the sword symbol was a sword. That was just
I know,
circles.
but I think...
you think it's just a piece of it?
I think it was a sword symbol.
Okay. So China thinks it's the sword symbol. If it was, let me know, because I didn't see it. I thought it was a circular symbol. But I'd like that we kind of got to see a little bit more of the world build out. Like, each episode is getting bigger, because now we just introduced color at the end of this one. So the next episode will have some color, some new elements. I don't trust the neighbor. I'm ready for her to kind of start showing herself as something more than just who she claims to be. And her husband. I feel like there's something to who her husband is. And it was cool that Wanda got pregnant at the very end. You have anything to say?
Okay, guys, so I watched episode 2. James thinks I'm thinking too hard because I really don't get it. Like, the dialogue, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. I have no connection to these characters, and I have very little, like, back history for them. James is kind of giving me a Cliff Notes version, which is somewhat helpful, but I feel like he can be more involved even when it is confusing, because there's some sort of, like, connection to who these characters are. I don't have that particular equity, so it's a little bit harder, because he was like, oh, like, so I was like, this dialogue, like, even in the beginning, the first episode, it was like, okay, like, what are we doing, like, what are we talking about? Like, even with regular sitcoms, there is some sort of, like, things make sense. So I feel like even before they were doing the magic scene, somehow the dialogue would have given away why they were doing it, instead of that coming out at the end of that scene. Like, even when the neighbor was building up explaining who Dottie was, that is what I'm talking about. Like, she explained who Dottie was before we got to Dottie and all of her stuff.
Which episode did you like better, episode 1 or 2?
Probably episode 2, because it went out of it went out of the house. There was more characters. I'm gonna see with episode 3. I'm gonna just try not to figure it out, because, like, between this being in her mind and I'm just gonna just watch it and just see what happens, because it's not really doing it for me.
I think that this is good, like, from the Marvel perspective. Like, are they making content just for, like, niche comic fans? Which, as a niche comic fan,
they are.
I appreciate it, because a lot of times we get general fan service vibes from, like, the movies, and we don't mind them, but we would like a little bit more for those who pay attention to the comics. But I don't think that they should want to alienate non-mainstream watchers, because if you only get niche comic readers to actually finish these series, then it won't bode well for them making more. I mean, they've made enough money they can afford to make 1 or 2 bad series. Look at Inhumans, for example. Yes, let's see how long my wife will last in the show.
I give it 5 episodes. I don't know, because I feel like even as a mainstream watcher who's not particularly considering, like, a comic book fan, I would never even watch this show. Like, I wouldn't watch this as, like, a regular TV show. I would not ever pick this. I don't know if other people, like, you guys can chime in the comments. If you're not, like, like, James reads the comics and, like, make sure everything is accurate. He knows different props and symbols and stuff. I don't. When I see it in the movies is when the first time I be knowing about stuff. So, like, if you're a woman or a guy who is like a movie only and you're not like deep into the comics, do you get this? Would you ever watch this? Because I would not. But I don't know. So.
All right. Well, there you go. Those are our thoughts on episode 2. Can't wait for next week to do episode 3. And we'll see you guys then. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the channel for more content. We have so many other shows and movies that we review and talk about here on James the Movie Critic.
Pew, 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 pew.